Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Hello friends, now I will shift and give you the answers related to the next part, that is spotting errors. The first sentence here is, after mysteriously expanding for decades, Antarctica's sea ice cover starting melting. If you see this 4 parts, part A, after mysteriously expanding for decades, there is nothing wrong with this. That means this part is right. Antarctica's sea ice cover. Antarctica's sea ice cover. When we are talking of a place, a country, or even a continent, the use of possessive apostrophe s is right. Sea ice cover is also right. That means this part also does not have any error. Starting melting. Now we don't say starting melting. We have to say started to melt, because he is talking of some activity that had taken place in the past. So we should say started melting. We also can say started to melt. Both are right, but we can't say starting melting. That means option part C of the sentence is incorrect. The answer is C. The sentence is, the auction conducted by the bank will be price based using multiple priced method. And the last part is no error. Let us analyze each part separately. The first part, the auction conducted by the bank. Basically, if you see a comma here, it means the auction which was conducted by the bank. That means this becomes a reduced clause of which was conducted by the bank. There is nothing wrong with that. So that means part A is right. Whether we say the auction which was conducted or we say the auction conducted by the bank. Nothing wrong with that. Will be price based. That means the auction will be dependent on the price. That means the expression price based is also right. Nothing wrong with this. Using multiple priced method. Now, if you see this here it is price based. There is no D, but here he has used the letter D. So, if you can delete this, it becomes very simple. Using multiple priced method, or we also can say price based method. The word based is optional. It clarifies it. If you don't use it, still there is nothing wrong grammatically. So we say will be price based using multiple price method, or we can say using multiple price based method. That means the error is in part C. Let us do the third question in this section of spotting errors. The sentence is, if the scheme would have been implemented effectively, all affected would have benefited. No error. If a simple thing will show that the sentence starts with a conditional. One normal rule for a conditional is, please do not use two modals in the two parts of the sentence. Try to keep the modal only in one part. Here we can see it is would have. And here he says would have. That means obviously there is an error in the sentence. So if the scheme, instead of saying would have been implemented effectively, that means he is talking of a past situation. All affected would have benefited. Whenever we use the pattern would have plus V3, this pertains to a past event. So the normal structure is if plus we use here past perfect for referring to a past event, followed by would have in the other clause. So all affected would have benefited. So instead of saying would have been implemented, we should say if the scheme had been implemented. I have handled this question by understanding that we don't use would have in the two clauses which comprise this conditional clause. Secondly, I have said since we are talking about the past event, the normal pattern is if plus past perfect in the conditional part, and in the other clause we use would have plus V3. So it is very clear that the error is in part A. Government stock offers safety, liquidity and attractive returned for long duration. If you see this word, what is this word returned? Returned is a verb, but what we need? Safety, we need liquidity and attractive, so we need a noun here. So the noun form is returns. Now if you read the sentence, government stock offers, nothing wrong with this, safety, liquidity and attractive returns. Returns are the money which you get back after investment. So that becomes the returns for long duration. That means it is very clear that the use of the past participle returned is wrong. It should be replaced by a noun form, and noun form here is returns, the money which you get after following in any investment. So the answer is part B. I will now read out this question. Scrolling through my social media timeline, I hovered over a video of a minor road traffic accident. If you see this, scrolling through my social media timeline, what does it mean? While I was scrolling through my social media timeline. So whether I say while I was or we use scrolling, nothing wrong with that. Grammatically, this part is right. Especially, we can use the present participle here, provided we have used the subject after the comma. So we don't have to say while I was scrolling, because I becomes redundant because it is coming again here. So scrolling through my social media timeline, I hovered. That means I checked, I looked into it, a video of a minor road traffic accident. That means this is also right, this is also right, and that means there is no error in the sentence, no error, and D is the correct option. I will now read out this question. The fascination with gold at least seems to be a case where traditional belief and modern finance would point to the same way. The fascination with gold at least seems, that means this is what it looks like. That means there is nothing wrong with A. Seems to be a case were traditional. What is this were? Were does not fit here. So it should be replaced by where. Seems to be a case where traditional belief. That means in which case? Where is talking of the cases there. Traditional belief and modern finance would point to the same way. That means the use of were is wrong. The correct word is where. So the error becomes in part B. Now I will deal with the next question. Evolutionary biology leave us directly, Now I will shift to the next question. Evolutionary biology leave us distinctly pessimistic about the possibility that altruism can arise naturally among humans. If you see this part, what is the subject? The subject is biology. It is singular. And what is leave? Leave is a plural verb. This is a sentence error related to subject-verb agreement. When the subject is singular, the verb should be singular. Leave is a plural verb, and hence there is no subject-verb agreement. If we change that leave to leaves, now leaves is singular, and biology is also singular. The sentence subject-verb agreement problem is resolved. There is no point in reading the further part of the sentence because error can only be in one part, and that is part A. Now I will read out the next question. When everything starts working for you, you will find things are achieved and delivered. If you read this sentence, when everything starts working for you, that means are going properly, going smoothly, there is nothing wrong with this. You will find what? What will you find? Things are. Here he is saying achieve, and here it's a complement to the verb are, and there he is saying delivered. So you don't mix the V1 form and the V3 form. So this word should be changed to achieved. And now it becomes very simple, are achieved and delivered. This is past participle, and here also delivered is also V3 form. That means these two complements are completing the sentence correctly. We cannot have a case where one is in V1 form and the second part is in V3 form. So the use of achieved and delivered is the correct answer. That means the answer is in part C. If I were you, I would not go for change of job. No error. Note the use of I and were. In conditionals, when you are talking of an unreal situation, a hypothetical situation, an unlikely situation, we are permitted to use the verb were. Even though we say I was a good student, but here in conditionals we use were. That means if I were you, because that person cannot be me. We are two different entities. So the use of if I were you is absolutely correct. I would not go for. I would not go. That means it's talking of the present extending into the future. There is no would have. Would have is talking about past. But when we are making a modal plus without have, modal plus followed by V1 form of the verb, that means we are talking of the present extending into the future. So would not go for change of job. Now we don't say change of job. We should say for a change. For a change, because we are talking of a specific change as a common noun. So we say for a change of job. The article a is required. The usual pattern is, if you want to know, if the noun is already mentioned earlier, then we use the, but when it is not mentioned, the listener does not know what we are talking about, then the use of a is appropriate. So the correct grammatical correction is for a change of job. That means the error is in part C. Now I will talk about the last question in the section related to spotting errors. I will now read out the sentence. At the beginning of the 19th century, female literacy was extremely low in comparison to the male literacy. If you see the sentence, at the beginning of the 19th century, there is nothing wrong. He is talking of the start of the 19th century. Female literacy was extremely low. This word low is wrong. It is very clear. And he is talking of in comparison to male literacy. That means this part is also right. So obviously the focus shifts to part B. Female literacy was extremely low. So we should use the word low. Low is an adjective. Now I will shift to the last question in the section spotting errors. I will briefly read out the sentence for you. At the beginning of the 19th century, female literacy was extremely low in comparison to male literacy. Let us now concentrate on each part. At the beginning of the 19th century, there is nothing wrong with this part. It is right. Female literacy was extremely low. The word low is incorrect. We have to use the word low, which is an adjective. And mark it that extremely is an adverb. So that means was extremely low. This pattern is absolutely right. Was is the state verb, and here he is talking of the complement, extremely low. There is no word as load in comparison to male literacy. This part is also right. That means the error is in part B. We should replace load by low, and the sentence will be correct. So in all, I can say that for this time, the spotting of errors was a very easy section, and it is all related to your use of grammar. Thank you.